KMOV Television, Channel 4, the vision of St. Louis. Now, Julius Hunter, Larry Connors, weather with meteorologist Trish Brown, and sports with Zipper Zeppa. From your 24-hour news source, this is Channel 4 News, live at 10.
Centers a shot.
The Blues are still alive tonight.
They needed a win at the arena, and they got it. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for this late edition of Channel 4 News at 10. A big night for the Blues, as you saw in their last home game of the regular season.
They needed a win tonight. Channel 4's Dave Simon is live at the arena. He joins us now with a reaction to this big win. Dave?
Well, Mary, the Blues sure made it exciting, didn't they, there in the third period, just hanging on for that 6-5 win over Tampa Bay. But let's be realistic, it really didn't mean a hill of beans at that point, because officially the Blues made it into the playoffs as soon as the final score in Detroit was announced about the beginning of the third period for the Blues. Of course, Detroit beating Minnesota by a final of 5-3. Now, back to this Blues game, there was one milestone and one milestone almost achieved for the Blues. Let's go to the first one. Brendan Shanahan will take a nice feed out front and score his 50th goal of the year, becoming the 14th player in the NHL this year to score 50. Now, the other one almost achieved by Curtis Joseph. When he lets in this goal, he failed to achieve something that no Blues goaltender has achieved in more than 20 years. That is a goals against under 3. That was the third goal of the game that he led off, so he ends the season with a goals against at about 3.01. Now, we talked to some of the fans when it was finally announced that the Blues were in the playoffs, and frankly, they said they knew it all along.
We knew tonight that we were just going to have a good time. Blues were going to win, and we were going to watch a great hockey game. Watch us go to the playoffs tonight.
Blues were going to win. Tonight was too big for them.
Of course, now it's Chicago first round. What happens?
I think we got a pretty good chance.
Blues in 6.
Blues in 5.
Was there ever any doubt that the Blues would win and make the playoffs to begin with?
Oh, no. This is my son's first hockey game as well, and he's good luck for the Cardinals. He's good luck for the Blues.
I think I recognize that guy. Mike was not shy. He admitted that this was also his first ever hockey game. Obviously, he and his son Adam, good luck charms, will invite them back for every game. We should also point out that the Blues, of course, will play Chicago in the first round. Much more on that, and a live report from Bernie Federko outside the Blues locker room coming up in sports. Back to you.
All right, a great night on Oakland Avenue. Thanks, Dave. All right, as Dave mentioned, the Blues will play on Sunday. Of course, they're going to be taking on the Blackhawks in Chicago at high noon. This kicks off the 7-game playoff series.
Well, this might well be the only night of the year we need a traffic report for Market Street at this time of night. That's because it is, again, tax time. The deadline fast approaching. At midnight, less than 90 minutes to go. Motorists dropping off their returns at the Central Post Office downtown St. Louis. Jonathan Hall is there, and are you collecting or returning your own?
I've had my my refund for a few months. I hate to boast, but that's the situation. Didn't Shakespeare write about bewaring the Ides of March? Julius Caesar was given that as advice. Well, perhaps we should beware the Ides of April, judging by all the people downtown here using the last-minute curbside drop-off service. A lot of you folks either forgot or you just put it off.
There's been a steady stream of cars all night. No time for a chat, thank you. Just take my 1040 and make sure it gets postmarked before the clock strikes 12. Inside the post office, IRS helpers were on hand until 8 to answer questions. And judging by the scribbles on Bretta Williams' return, she could use some help. Why wait to the last second?
Well, I didn't know this day was coming until it came.
You just didn't want to know.
I didn't want to know. I kind of ignored it.
I'm just a plain procrastinator. That's all, plain and simple.
They made friends when May loaned Williams her calculator. The IRS says lots more people waited until the last second this year, and there's a good reason for that. When President Bush changed the withholding tables to pump more money into our paychecks every week, he also ensured that many of us would not be receiving a refund. In fact, many here at the downtown post office are learning they owe Uncle Sam a check. Lots of folks were filling out the IRS's new installment contract, affectionately known as Form 9465. For the first time, the government is allowing us to pay our tax bill over the next 36 months. You got enough money in the account to pay that?
No. I'm just going to fill out that installment plan, so, yeah.
She'll pay interest but avoid stiff late payment and filing penalties, which are based on a percentage of what you owe. That's why it's so important to file the paperwork on time. That's why all these people are here tonight.
Very honestly, I believe it's sort of exciting. I mean, people, it's an atmosphere. There's people here. There's a camaraderie. I think some people actually enjoy the atmosphere, and this is why they wait.
Is it kind of fun coming here at the last second?
I hate it. I don't know why I do it, but I do it.
Back live at 10:38, and there's the scene. The cars just keep coming here on Market Street. There are 3 things you can do to make sure you don't make a mistake. 1, check your math. 2, make sure all your forms are there, especially the W-2s. And 3, sign the darn thing. Larry, I'm going to turn the tables on you. Did you get your form in?
Mine has been in as well. And, of course, the one I owed the government, I sent the very last minute a couple days ago, John. So you got your refund before I paid it for you. All right, Jonathan All reporting. If you still have not filed your returns or an extension request, the post office stands ready for you. As John said, the main post office will be open until midnight, offering drive-up service. But there are 20 other metropolitan St. Louis post offices also open late tonight. We're showing you some of those locations now. Check for the one closest to you. Understand these locations do not have drive-up service. No one's going to wait outside to take your return. You're going to have to get out of the car and do some work here at this point. But all of these locations will be open until midnight. That's about 80 minutes now. And all of these locations will make special pickups. So if you drop your returns off at one of these locations, you will be assured your return will be postmarked by midnight tonight. If you want to stay on the good side of the IRS, and that's a good idea, don't miss the deadline.
Elsewhere tonight, right now, rescue crews in St. Charles are trying to save a motorist who has been stranded in rising floodwaters for 3 hours. The man's pickup stalled in the water covering Highway C, that's just north of Interstate 70, several hundred yards from dry land. Water began seeping into the vehicle. Now, the driver had called for help on his CB radio, and at this hour, emergency crews are working toward his rescue. Tonight, one of 7 hostages has been freed by inmates barricaded at Ohio's maximum security prison. A spokesman says the freed guard, who is 23 years old, was taken to a hospital where he is described as stable but shaken. The inmates are still holding 6 guards hostage. An 8th guard was found dead this morning. 6 inmates have died in this 5-day-old uprising.
There is an ironic twist in the trial of 9 members of the Moorish Science Temple charged with racketeering, murder, and drug dealing. Channel 4 News has learned that a federal judge dismissed an alternate male juror because he was arrested by the St. Charles County Sheriff's Department. A source close to the trial says the juror was charged with drug possession. The first alternate in the trial is that juror, and there are still 5 other alternates available. The trial began 6 months ago. It is expected to take a year. Tomorrow begins the 7th day of deliberations in the Rodney King beating trial. The Los Angeles jury must decide whether 4 police officers violated King's civil rights when they clubbed and kicked him while trying to arrest him.
Tomorrow, President Clinton will meet with gay and lesbian leaders in the Oval Office. Mr. Clinton will be the first president ever to invite gay leaders to the White House. Now, the 6 men and women plan to urge the president to continue to support overturning the ban on homosexuals in the military. They will also remind him of campaign promises to support federal anti-discrimination protections for gays and lesbians. Well, the controversy over whether to ban baby walkers is continuing.
There's some that insist the walkers are not dangerous enough to be banned.
And where do you think Americans who make good money tend to live? Well, we will tell you where. Plus, you'll find out how Missouri and Illinois stack up when it comes to family incomes.
And coming up, some St. Louis area residents keeping an eye on the rising waters.
The closer you live to the Merrimack River tonight, the more you might need to worry about moving.
Already, floodwaters forcing some residents to move, others trying still to tough it out. And that leads our night wrap of today's major stories on this Thursday, April the 15th. Of specific concern is the Arnold area. Tonight, the Merrimack 6 feet over flood stage. Nearby roads covered with up to 6 feet of water. Forecasters predict the Merrimack will crest 3 feet higher by this weekend. Joey Buttafuoco is pleading not guilty to statutory rape. He's accused of having sex with a teenager who shot his wife. Well, this morning he turned himself in and then was released on his own recognizance. Buttafuoco allegedly had sex with Amy Fisher when she was 16 years old. She is now serving a 5 to 15-year prison term for shooting Mary Jo Buttafuoco, who still suffers some paralysis from that attack.
The Space Shuttle astronauts are packing up to come home. Discovery is scheduled to land tomorrow morning at Kennedy Space Center unless thunderstorms and high winds prevent it. Now, if that happens, the shuttle might spend a 9th day on ozone layer research. President Clinton is looking for a deal with Republican senators whose filibuster blocks his jobs package. Now, the president says he will accept less if they will compromise as well. But he says his deal is going to include an additional $200 million to rehire laid-off police officers.
Well, like some of you, the Clintons waiting until this last day to pay their taxes. That's because they owe money. They will end up paying more than $70,000 in federal income taxes for 1992, mainly because of Hillary's job as a corporate lawyer. She made more than $290,000. The former governor of Arkansas earned more than $34,000 last year. And that's our night wrap for this Thursday, April the 15th. Tonight, the government is giving us a glimpse of where Americans who make good money live. According to 1990 census figures, all of those folks are clustered in the suburbs of New York City and Washington, D.C. That's where you'll find such places as Fairfax County, Virginia. The typical family makes more than $65,000 a year in that area, the highest average income for a county in the U.S. Here's how St. Louis stacks up. The bi-state metropolitan area ranking 86th on the list with the average family income just about $38,000. Missouri, by the way, ranks 33rd from the top when it comes to state incomes. The average Missouri family income about $31,000, closer to $32,000 as you see. Illinois, the 12th highest average family income, around $38,000.
Tonight, the Consumer Product Safety Commission is refusing a request by a pediatrics group to ban baby walkers. Those are those rolling devices which allow infants to get around before they can walk. Critics say the walkers are dangerous because they can roll down stairs and cause injuries. Now, although it did reject an outright ban, the commission says it will somehow try to address concerns about design safety.
All right, everyone tired of the rain? Definitely.
We are tired of the rain.
We are tired. You get that?
Trish?
So you're tired of the rain. Well, maybe some snow would do you some good. Don't panic. I'll have the forecast coming up next.
And a baby ostrich getting some special help. I think you're going to want to know what happened on this one, so don't stick your head in the bed.